Oh, it looks like there's a camera option now. Has Discord always allowed cameras?
I noticed that too, and no, they definitely did not. But I also noticed that when I loaded in, I was like, oh, don't click that button.
Definitely don't click that button.
And there's a shared screen now too. Sweet.
We all just watch Second Best Dad do things to art.
That is way better though, because those two options not being there were super annoying at times and drove us to use YouTube only every now and then as well. So I'm happy that those are added options now. That's really cool. Look at Discord devs doing something. Also, hello everyone. We're gonna give it just another minute for people to hop in, and then we will get started. Beetle Dude, I saw you on mute. You got something to say?
I just didn't want to leave you hanging. I'll say hi, Bolon.
Oh, thank you. So come to this.
I know.
Oh no, Beetle, did you hear me talking? Did we have one of those weird things where some of us can't hear others?
I hear you now.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
good. I got worried.
I was just fashionably late.
Did you guys call on me? I was totally getting a drink. Is it my turn to talk?
Oh, look at Fox. What's up?
Hey, figured I'd try it out. I guess I'll start then, because no one's telling me I should or not. But
Yeah, no, we actually had not yet. We were we were about to get started. I was finishing typing. So yeah,
then I
well,
won't start
yeah,
yet.
man. Here's
I'll wait.
Fox.
Okay, I will. Welcome. Another week. It's crazy. Time's flying fast. I've actually been wishing for a camera mode in here for a while, just because, I mean, not everyone likes to have it on. I usually don't, but sometimes it is useful to have certain things like that. So I might try it from time to time. Looks like it's working well. Anyways, it's really been a busy week. Last week we launched the deferred payments, like using lot tokens for certain things in game, as well as the token raffles. And I sort of had a brief overview of it last May, but just an update on it. Looks like it's been working well. Haven't seen any issues with it so far. We've been like monitoring that and trying to get some better data internally, but just from my napkin math, I guess it looks like it's done over 200,000 locked like tokens have been used for the token raffles itself. And as far as spending on the other features, I don't have good metrics on that yet, but I imagine that's more than that as well. So that includes things like meditation circle, summoning, and dark summoning, and like some of those other things as well. So we're excited about that program. I think it's going to be really good. And we'll see how we can expand that as well. So that's been good. Let's see, updates, things I'm working on. Duels Season 2 ended last week and is slated to start next week. So we've been hard at work on that, trying to make sure all of the features that we want to squeeze into it can get in. And there's some that we might launch halfway through the season as well that aren't directly a part of Duel, but it's more like an ancillary thing that interacts with Duel, which I'm really excited about as well. So that will be fun. Other things I've been working on, let's see. So we had a like really good audit from Hackin that had like a lot of really good feedback. We've been implementing those. That's been a lot of my day yesterday and today. And then prior to that, working on Auction House, which I don't know if we've actually mentioned before much, but I'm excited about that feature. It's sort of an older feature that we're trying to bring back. And was able to get that up and running and all of the tests passing. And now we're just at the point where we're like, should we just rewrite this as a diamond because that'll be more future proof? And I think we will end up doing that. So that will be something we'll do there. And also we would like to get that one audited as well because it will involve a lot more assets on chain than some of our other contracts. So still a little ways out on that, but it is having some significant progress this week, which I'm stoked about. The state upgrade system with Avalabs. I've been sort of like working with them on that, trying to get the direction that they would like us to go in, and also being able to contribute that back to Avalabs in the subnet EVM repo. So still working on that too. And I think those are the main things for me. So yep, I'll hand the mic back over to Bolon and I'll turn the camera back off. Thanks, guys.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you testing out the camera system also. Fun fact, because I was playing with things as it was going just to see how it did. If you change channels, your camera actually stays up as well in the corner. So it looks like they did a pretty good job with the cameras, and I'll be interested for us to try out the screen share one day as well. So happy about the Discord updates also. Over to you, Dreamer.
Cool. I actually got excited, so I went and changed my shirt to a DeFi Kingdom shirt, but then I realized my hair looks horrible. So no camera for me today, but maybe one day in the future. Yeah, I think on the update side, as Fox mentioned, kind of casually, there's tons going on right now. On the build side, there's tons going on with our partnerships as well. Really focusing in on leveraging our strongest partnerships so that we can co-market and I don't know what the right word is, co-biz dev, and really just fell in love with our network that we built. So we're not only continuing to make it bigger, but we're also trying to establish stronger partnerships with those in the Avalabs ecosystem, with their really, really strong team, as well as Clayton and their extended network. One example of that is next week. There's actually a few events in Las Vegas. One of those is DICE. It's a major traditional gaming event. And then the other is MGS, which is more like mobile gaming focused. So I will be going there solo, and actually meeting some of the biz dev guys from Ava Labs. And they plan a lot of good networking events, and I am quite fortunate to be involved in a few of those. So they're definitely looking out for us and want us to help them sell their product of our great experience on the subnet, our good partnerships, our willingness to collaborate. So really looking forward to that, to see what kind of people that are interested in the Avalanche or others that we come across in the traditional gaming world. Over time, we have been getting connected to a lot of traditional studios and rubbing shoulders there, which not only good for us, it's good for the industry, because the traditional game, or Web2 game, or whatever term you'd like to use, mindset is typically a little bit less open to blockchain games. And I think each relationship that we make there is a step forward to kind of break down those barriers and increase understanding of what we are and how we might, one day be working with or for some of these guys from a consulting perspective or collaboration perspective, as it very much is a big part of the future of gaming, applying the blockchain technology and tokenization. I also will be on a panel at MGS with the group at Ava Lab. So excited for that trip. We are not doing a big event there. We're not doing a booth or anything. It's pretty much a business development trip. And one note that I don't know if people are interested or not, DICE is a expensive event. It's $4K a ticket. We intentionally did not buy a ticket. In this market, we're being very careful about budget, maximizing ROI with everything we're doing. We're going to be, packing my schedule as much as we can to make good meetings, but won't be attending that event. So if anybody was curious, just wanted to be upfront about that, so there wasn't a question. The week after that is Eth Denver, and I think we've made a couple announcements, but we will have more of a presence there. maybe I won't take Bolon's thunder if he wants to mention it this week or next week. I'm not sure. But those are back to back. I'm considering if I might join them since I will be a bit closer, but unsure at this point. In terms of other partnerships that we're working on, we have been seeing, other videos from some folks on the Ava Lab side. There's probably a pretty cool like short video overview of us. Some other things being tweeted. Might have some updates here from Pieface in a second, but just I'm happy to see that those that first come across DeFi Kingdoms, obviously they'll be excited or want to post about it. But I think how we differ from many other options or protocols out there, or options in the crypto space, is that we keep building new things. And we do have this long-term vision of a tokenized RPG blockchain game in mind. And all of the things that we're coming out with, every other week, it seems still, they build that vision up stronger. And I hope that we just see an exponential growth of, mentions and certain like influencers videos more naturally and casually, and people creating content. And just I'm excited. I'm proud of our team, the work that Sunbear, Strider, Bolon, Pieface, and everybody's doing on like the partnership marketing side. So a lot goes into it, more than just kind of what we all see. And I think we're seeing a lot of the return on investment there. Market maker side, currently in KYC, giving him all of our personal information and everything there, pending a legal agreement to sign. We saw a draft of terms that we agreed to like verbally, and now they're just putting together the actual document that'll then have to go to our lawyers. So it'd be great if we have all that signed and can talk about it next week, but it might still be a couple weeks there. Have another centralized exchange meeting today, and that's going to kind of round out our main focus. So yeah, sorry, no big juicy name updates today, but I imagine in the next week or so there could be some fun updates with actual names being dropped. Over to you, Bolon.
Thank you. I will talk a little bit about Eth Denver here in actually, I'll just do it now. I don't know why I was going to put it off. So yes, as Dreamer mentioned, we will be in Eth Denver. Very excited for that. We're going with a relatively small crew. We aren't doing like a booth at Eth Denver. We are going to participate in some of the side events, as well as just do some general guerrilla marketing. So we are going to try to be everywhere at once. Part of that also is we're going to look at digitizing a lot of that event, so you can expect multiple live streams, pictures, videos. We're going to be producing a lot of content while we're there, which we're really excited about. However, one of the side events that we are participating in is actually an event that Supra Oracles is hosting, and they invited us to be a part of it. We will actually be speaking in a couple of the panels that they are doing during that event, so we will try to get those streamed or recorded and posted afterwards, whatever we can do depending on the setup. So we're still finalizing details there, but we're going to try to make sure that y'all also have access to really almost everything that we do in Eth Denver. To be honest, that's kind of our goal, is to make as much of it accessible to our community as possible. So very much looking forward to Eth Denver. It's going to be a really, really good time, and we're going to make a lot of stuff out of it. I do also want to take a moment and do a special shout out. Happy birthday, Purple Onion. It is Purple Onion's birthday, so if you see her in chat, make sure you do wish her a happy birthday, or just tag her a bunch. Either one is fine. Sunbear, I saw you unmuted. Did you want to add something on Eth Denver?
Oh, I could not say happy birthday to Purple Onion. I saw her last year at her birthday, so happy birthday, Purple Onion. And Bolon, just curious, who's going to be speaking at that event? You said we, but you didn't say who.
Yep, I did. Theoretically, that is me. So currently I am slated to speak at the Supra Oracles event, which I'm pretty excited about, actually. So this will be my first like official speaking engagement at an event, so looking forward to that. And let's go over to Pi for her update.
Unmute. Okay, cool. Happy birthday, Purple Onion. Yeah, I also was, I think it was at Eth Denver that the birthday was
It was.
Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, so I've got some updates on the digital pillar side of things. And I'm just gonna start off with blue check mark. We got that blue check mark on the DeFi Kingdom's Twitter. Yes, we are paying the dollars, $8 for it, but I'm so happy that it looks like we're legit. But man, I think we went through the official process like last year, and where you have to like share your news articles and your clout and stuff, and we got rejected twice, but now we paid to win. But yeah, that's just, fun, exciting little update. But also, I'm not sure if you guys have seen, we've there's a Avalanche Gaming Twitter account, and they posted a really cool video featuring DeFi Kingdoms. And in general, you guys will be seeing us working a lot more closely with Ava Labs on marketing this year. Because yeah, we are their #1 subnet, and it's kind of like a no-brainer, and that we should be featured a lot. And because I know that we are being used as a awesome use case for their subnets. But yeah, we'll be working more closely officially with them and collaborating closely. So you'll be seeing a lot more of that. And another thing I want to highlight on Twitter is Kingdom Informed. They posted a really awesome graphic, a couple days ago. And I would love to highlight that as well. It just does a great job showing all of the work that we have done during the bear market and major crypto events. And yeah, thanks, Mr. Zipper's been posting these links, and I didn't even ask him to, but I'm sure he has them up on tabs saved, so I appreciate that. But yeah, it's just great to see that, and because there's a lot of projects that kind of got quiet, dropped off, and just because this bear market's been pretty brutal. But we've just been going, I mean, we did weekly releases, and that's just pretty insane in the development world. And now this year we are spreading things out a little bit more, but that's where you'll see the quality and the really, really good stuff from us. And also, another thing we're doing is prepping merch for events, like mentioned, the Eth Denver one, and we're definitely being very selective on our events this year, as mentioned by Dreamer, and we're wanting the merch to reflect some just more quality where we can put it, and if that makes sense. But yeah, we're very excited about that. We've been working hard on that. And I just want to talk about how kind of it related to the bear market. We've put a lot of emphasis on surviving and prioritizing building and our processes internally and budgets. And with a lot of really important features coming up now, we know how important marketing is in acquiring and onboarding new users. Because since we have exciting game stuff, we want to focus and target game users. And that'll be really, really interesting to be doing that this year. And so part of that, our DFK or DeFiKingdoms.com and Kingdom Studios websites, they'll definitely have a very, very long overdue update since, yeah, it's definitely everybody who sees DeFi Kingdoms, they go to the website or the landing page. That's the first thing they see. And we want it to be really show all that we've done and the what we have planned and roadmap things. So yeah, that's definitely going to be something you guys will see soon. And another thing with marketing, as mentioned by Dreamer, there's a lot more collaboration with our partners you guys will be seeing. And yeah, so I just want to close out on my little section. Just a huge shout out to the community. I really appreciate all of you guys because your excitement, talking about the project, always being ready to help like new users, and even correcting others. Because I saw on Twitter, there's a number of people who think we're still on Harmony, and I appreciate you guys jumping in to correct that. So showing, and also just thanks for showing fun gameplay and like awesome quest reward drops. Like I forgot who it was, but somebody got 2 gray eggs from a foraging quest. That's insane. And that's awesome. But yeah. But yeah, and like just sharing like summoning what you guys get from that. But yeah, just wanted to appreciate all of you. Take some time to really give kudos to you guys in the community. So yeah, that's all for me.
Thank you, Pieface. I did poke Fox about one more update. Fox, did you want to just hit that now?
Yeah, sure. So Duels Season 2, like I mentioned, ended last week. I think Sasha is working on some fun raffles. Part of that, there's going to be 3 Gen Zeros. I think also, and he might correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what the plan is, or the format for that, is to essentially just like pool all of the dual types into one, because the changes that we made for the scoring, such that they're homogeneous, basically, makes it so that we can safely do that. So basically, that is the plan for season 2, and for season 3, we're going to switch it up a little bit with Gen Zeros. I'm not going to say exactly what right now, but I think it's going to be pretty exciting. And that's also going to have some interesting impacts on the Kingdom Builder program. So that's all I'll say for now about that, but stay tuned, and we'll announce more next week on that.
Thank you, Fox. And one last update before we move into questions from Hubert.
Hey guys. Let's see. I don't have too many updates at the moment. I'm just kind of continuing on with the same trend as before. Been working with Workhorse, who I see is in the chat right now, on the next finalizing the next class, and I hope you guys will enjoy that once we get that out, or the alpha for that. And yeah, other than that, just continuing on with the same work as I've been kind of mentioning before. We still have a bit more to go on the level 10 profession quests, and on the tournament system, and a few other things. Just there's a lot of work going into all this, but looking forward to getting that out once we can. And we also do have a new power up coming pretty soon as well, so you guys can speculate on that, what that will be, and that should be fairly soon that you'll be able to use it. So anyway, yeah, that's all I got right now.
Thank you, good sir. I'm very excited for that power up. It's gonna be awesome. All right, so going into some questions, we're gonna start off with a question for Dreamer. The question was, how, for the market maker, what is their acquisition process for the jewels that they will be using? Are they buying them from the market, borrowing from the treasury, or buying over the counter?
Yep, good question. I might have gone over some of this a couple weeks ago as well, so some of it might be repeating, but I want to make sure we answer it like very directly. So the agreement that we are considering signing, that is what many of the tier 1 market makers use. It's referred to as a loan optionality agreement. So it's both a loan and an option. You could also kind of think of it as a repurchase agreement if you're more familiar with that. But essentially, we start by identifying an amount of the token that will be used to make the market between like the DFK chain and whatever the centralized exchange is. and that needs to be held as like quote unquote physical inventory. Since there aren't like on a DEX where you have liquidity staked with existing like linked pairs, you need to just essentially make the market manually using the inventory. So that will come from our treasury. However, the way that the loan optionality agreement works is we identify X amount of Jewel, which is what we are considering to list to start. We're not considering Crystal or Jade at the beginning. It's starting with Jewel, the cross like ecosystem token, as a higher supply and would be less exposed to volatility with any trading activity. That Jewel would be put in a wallet that is controlled by an agreement and in the form of a loan. So there's an end date to that loan. And during that time, the market maker will essentially use that inventory to make the market by buying it at a strike price that's predetermined. So strike is like a predetermined price that if the current price of Jewel would be above that, they could essentially buy it from the loan. So that's the option portion. Buy it from the loan and then go and sell it on the centralized exchange that we are supporting. And that's how they make their money, essentially making the market from this loan optionality agreement. If the price were to then dip under the strike price, they would be buying it back from the centralized exchange itself because it's quote unquote cheaper to get access to Jewel to help their market making than it would have been to like pull on this agreement, if that makes sense. I think there was part saying, will they buy it from what I interpret as like the DEX? I think they have the right to, but in terms of sizes, it's not really ideal. So I guess if there wasn't sufficient inventory at whatever centralized exchange we started with and the price was under strike, and they weren't going to be moving the price of the pair, they could buy it out of the DEX, but that is likely not going to be necessary. So hopefully that was helpful. I guess at the end of the period, what happens, you then like settle. So let's say the amount, and this isn't the right amount, it's just for an example, let's say the amount was like 100 Jewel. And over the 1 month period, 50 Jewel were bought at the strike price that was agreed. At the end, they would essentially return the like stable coin that we agree on to pay for the 50 Jewel at the strike, plus whatever Jewel they didn't exercise the option on. So we would get our Jewel back and we would get proceeds back if it was like partially pulled upon. And then we would probably reestablish a new strike and keep rolling this approach over time.
Perfect. Thank you much, Dreamer. All right. Let's go ahead and head into the Hubert section of the AMA. I think it might actually be a little bit shorter for you this week, Hubert. So the first question is, go ahead. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, nothing. I was just like, all right.
So the first question is, assumably there will be a Gen 0 reroll each time we put out new classes. Excluding any necessary rerolls like the one that we've talked about we're going to need to do for crafting, is the plan to have the final reroll be with the final classes?
Yeah, that's right. At this time, there wouldn't be any plans to do any sort of gene reroll like we have with the Gen 0 gene rerolls after that point. So that'd be the last effort to kind of get everything, all the different genes, at least in a decent mixing. I'm sure there will still be some that are not going to be, there will be some imbalance, of course, but yeah, that last one will be there. Will be that with the last set of classes. So hopefully most people will do that reroll when that happens. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Next question is, on level 10 profession quests, will Shvas runes be dropped or will it be Moksha only?
So Shavas runes will still be dropped on that one as well.
All right, good deal. I believe that actually concludes your section of the AMA today, so congratulations.
There was one more.
There might be. I don't know. We're gonna we're gonna say that was it. But if I find it, then yeah, there's one more. Let's see. So DFK Wiki multi-language. Do we have anything planned on that front? I would start off by saying yes, we do have something planned. We are in the process of revamping a lot of our online presence, which if Pi wants to add to, she's more than welcome to. But we are in that process. And once that's done, then yes, we would be potentially looking at expanding that to multiple languages. The person that submitted the question was referencing that they were thinking about starting one for the French-speaking community. I think that would be really cool. And one thing that I think is also an option is for a player-created and generated one, which could then be translated into however many languages we have players that want to do that in. So I definitely would like that to not be a discouragement to, our players doing something that they want to see, and, potentially working together to translate that into multiple languages. I think that's absolutely an option as well. Anybody have anything they want to add to that? All right. Next question. On season 2, so a lot of people did not, or there were not a lot of people that hit the higher ranks in season 2. We did make the skill adjustment partway through the season, or the rank adjustment, I should say. I'm sorry, points adjustment. Are we considering doing anything backdated on season 2?
I'll take that one. I'm over here trying to type things too. So we actually adjusted points. We did a like one-time backdating at that time that we did that. And that is all of the backdating that we'll be doing for that. It should already be on sort of like an even playing field at that point. So the answer is no, there won't be any more. It's already done, basically.
Perfect. Thank you, Sir Fox. Let's see. Next question is about the data on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. Yes, it is still incorrect. Yes, we are working on updating it. Yes, they have been informed. It's actually something that Dr. Zipper has been working on for months at this point. Oh, hey, Dr. Zipper. Here, I'll just hand over the mic to you.
Hey, yeah, I mean, this is it's been ongoing for a long time. I mean, I know I've told lots of people that it's something we've been working on. It's kind of complex for a couple of reasons. One, there are a lot of people vying for the attention of these companies to try to get their stuff listed and updated, and we don't really have any special access or communication with them to make that happen any faster than anybody else. So that's one thing, and then the other thing is that it's our tokenomics are really complicated. The move from Harmony to DFK chain, it's one thing for us to explain it, but it's another thing to say look at the contracts and make that work. So we can say, oh yeah, we reduced the supply from 500 million to 125 million. They're like, great. Can you show us, how you did that and what the data for that is? It's like, okay, well, great. There's still 386 million Joule on Harmony. 200 or 396 or something. 280 of that is locked. Another 112 is in circulation, but we also minted 500 million Joule on DFK chain when we launched the chain to mirror that. And there's, burned Joule on Harmony, and there's 80 million Joule in the bridge on Harmony, and there's, 375 million Joule that we burned on DFK chain, and there's 80 million Joule that's wrapped as C Joule, or that's wrapped as W Joule on DFK chain. And so it gets really, really complicated really quick. And so trying to demonstrate that, to make sure that it's clear to everybody, that they can then take that and just put it into a single number that gets displayed, is takes a long time. They also don't want to combine the existing listings for Joule and wrapped Joule, and they have good reasons for that as well. In for us, we kind of are similar to something like an Ethereum level 2, where the original token exists as an ERC20 on one chain. For us, that's Harmony, but then it becomes the native token on the level 2 chain, which for us is DFK chain, but it's also wrapped on that chain. And so there's just a lot of complexity going into it, and they can't really merge those things together because they have separate supplies and all of this sort of thing. So, again, it's in progress. It's something that we're aware of is a priority for all kinds of reasons, and we're working to make it happen as soon as possible. But anybody who says that they could get it done in 2 days if they were tasked with it is simply lying. So that's all I'll say about that for now.
Appreciate it, Dr. Zipper. Yeah, migration is not a clean thing. So there were a lot of changes, and as Zip said, it's a lot of moving numbers and getting them to be able to see the whole picture and ultimately feel confident and comfortable in putting that as a single number. And that's what a lot of it boils down to is, their desire for accuracy. We know it's accurate, but they want to be confident before they put that out as with their name on it. So very much appreciate that, Dr. Zipper, and the the amount of time that you spent going back and forth with them also. All right. You were right. There is one more. I found it. So we're going to circle back to the Qubit section of the AMA real quick. Any thoughts on bringing back regular and lesser atonement crystals, specifically atonement, maybe as offerings or dual raffles or any other ways?
That was the one. So no plans for that. The atonement crystals were meant to rectify, heroes being impacted by bugs in our code on the smart contracts, and so they did things that we didn't intend for like attunement crystals to be able to do. So I wouldn't want to be proliferating that, and having it be kind of a regular release or anything like that. So the ones that exist now, they're a deflationary supply. As they get used, they're just gonna be more and more rare, I guess, at that point. Not that they necessarily do something, especially like the lesser one is just like 10 HP or something like that. I can't remember how much, but anyway, yeah. So no, you can only expect the ones that exist now to be the last ones to exist. Is the plan.
Perfect. Thank you, sir, and thank you for remembering that there was another question. So, the next question is kind of a general one, so really anybody that has some thoughts is welcome to weigh in. But it's essentially, what are the steps that we have in place to ensure that there is no abuse of inside information?
Yeah, that's quite the question, and it's really a issue in all kinds of projects. Some things just off the top of my head, we're obviously very careful about who we let on the team, because there are things that we talk about in like the planning phases and things like that have a pretty big impact on like the game. So we always are very mindful of that. We have internally, we've actually discussed this a lot, about like rules for the team and like what our guidelines are. So that's part of it. It's also just making sure that we trust people, but there are times as well when we aren't even able to share everything with the entire team. Sometimes we have a few of those right now that are actually progressing, and we'll like usually say, hey, there's this thing, we're not going to talk about it, but just so you know, here's why. And it's sort of a like need to know basis. There's those, and then also we're on the blockchain. Everybody and anybody can like look at our addresses. We have those. I think most of the team's addresses are pretty like well known out there. So we're always very aware of that, and it's just important to always have that in mind. That I think we have like some guidelines on what we can do in terms of like selling and buying and how much at once, and we even have some like recommendations on like not selling right before releases or right after releases or this or that. actually, I don't think like right after releases, but we just make a very conscious effort to avoid any view that could be even interpreted as, oh, like so and so had insider like whatever knowledge and had like this or that happen. That's the last thing any of us want to happen, and it's the last thing any of us would ever do as well. So yeah, I guess that's my take on it. Does anyone else want to come and chime in? Maybe Dreamer or someone?
Sure. Yeah, I think a lot of what you said is great. I won't repeat it. If I can think of areas to add, there's a general, pretty strong guidance that if you're going to make a financial decision in the game, why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you know something? If so, don't do it. And I don't think we have anybody in the game or on the team currently that would risk everything that would come from like breaking that trust of being like, ooh, I know something somebody else does, and I'm gonna try to make a pretty penny or something. If anything, we have to remind ourselves this because oftentimes we are both playing the game and participating, and some of us are marketing it, some of us are building it, sometimes some of us are making partners. So it's kind of an ongoing effort. You're never completely perfect mentally. You could just want to be like establish patterns. I know there's some people on the team that have really good patterns, and they're like, no, regardless, every day or every week or whatever, I'm going to make a trade and either building or selling bit by bit my portfolio. And I think when it's more predictable and pattern, it's better. What we wouldn't want to see is just out of nowhere zero selling and then like dumping a huge amount of money in like the day of a release or something. And that's really what we're trying to focus in on. We're not trying to take away everybody's freedom to just be humans and manage their own part of the game, but it's really important to say if you're making a decision based on material non-public information, do not make that decision no matter how big or small. And I think that what Box highlighted is just good guidelines for us to make sure that we don't even have the perception of doing that. I'm quite confident in our team and all of us looking to preserve our reputation and our place and the project. But yeah, ongoing reminders are what we do, and making sure that we do have checks. I mean, there's even some checks in Discord, I think, for like large wallets or purchases that our mods as well are looking out for us and making sure that we're all staying honest and even if it isn't out of honesty, staying diligent to make sure that we don't inadvertently slip up in any way. So long answer to the question, but it's a really good question, and we care a lot about our reputation and our people and don't even want the perception of some of this being misunderstood.
I'd just add too that a big part of that as well is transparency with y'all, with our community. There's things that we can't be transparent about, but the things that we can share ahead of time, we try to make sure that we do share those, and that way, everybody's on the same playing field. Everybody, has that same information, and that's where a lot of times, we talk about features that may not come out for a while. One of the things that comes to mind is we mentioned, I think it was last June, might have been July, that we were looking to implement locked token spending. That didn't come about until this month. But we wanted to make sure that people knew that it was something that we were looking at and wanting to do. So we try to make sure that everybody, to the extent that we can, everybody has equal information on what we're looking at doing, what we're working on. That said, when it comes to the game itself, obviously there is information that we cannot put out in advance, but we do want to try to keep people informed as well.
I'll just add to that real quick, but I'm not sure if anyone's really noticed, but we've been trying to sort of like consciously increase the amount of things that we let the community know as early as possible. And part of that is tied to the committees that we have internally, where we have like a committee for the game and for the business and for like tokenomics and things like that. So as soon as something has passed a committee and is sort of like approved, at that point, more often than not, it's eligible to be presented to the community at like the next AMA or something, or even sometimes we'll have a special one specifically for it. So That's for like a number of reasons, and it's also to help to ensure that everyone has the same information as early as possible. And so that's really a important thing that I'm trying to push more internally as well. Obviously, there's times we have like NDAs that we've had to sign with like some of our partners, and we can't really announce everything all at once. But as much as possible, we are trying to increase that so that y'all know as early as possible.
Awesome. Appreciate y'all. So next question. At the moment, there is let's see. Okay, hang on. Sorry, started reading that wrong. So basically asking about the option of revamping our liquidity pool system to where the fees that come in from the trades are accumulated separately and able to be harvested separately rather than going straight back into the stake into that pool.
Yeah, so that's a part of the protocol of like Uniswap that we've had like at our core of our decks. And it's not really something that we wrote originally. It's more like standing on the shoulders of giants. So we're not in a hurry to basically change that up too much. With that said, though, we are kind of looking at eventually upgrading to like Uniswap 3. We're on 2 right now. 3 is supposed to be going open source, I think, sometime this year, even maybe this quarter or next quarter. So that's a possibility, but I'm not even sure that the third version has that ability either. It's just sort of like built in that the fees for the swapping that is in the DEX right now basically just get added in the form of increasing the value of the LP tokens. So it's not really something that's easy to split out right now. That's just by like the like nature of it. Like your LP that is in the DEX is just increasing in value rather than staying at a flat value and then having you get additional amounts of it. It's just you have the same amount of LP, but the value that it represents in terms of underlying tokens is slowly increasing. So, yep.
Yeah, and just as a clarification, right now the only thing that is harvested separately are emissions. So like even if you have a LP in an incentivized pool, the rewards that you're actually claiming through the harvest box are not the fees from that LP. The fees from the LP are still feeding directly into the LP. It's the emissions that are tracked separately, not auto compounded.
That's right. Yeah. So, for example, like let's say you had a LP token that was USDC and Joule, basically, and you stuck in 100 Joule and like 10 USDC or like whatever the ratio is. Those like it'll say, okay, here's like 20 LP tokens, and those 20 LP tokens represent that 100 Joule and 10 USDC. So then as the trades are being made, there's actually a small amount of Joule or USDC that's being added to the underlying balance because each trade has fees. So those 20 LP that you hold slowly represent more and more Joule and USDC than they did when you put it in. So then when you eventually draw it out, you'll get more Joule and or USDC back than you put in theoretically from that. Obviously there's like things like impermanent loss that can come into play too, but the underlying tokens are always increasing. So that's how that works. Hopefully that makes sense to someone out there.
This has been our educational section. No, very much appreciate that, Fox. All right, last question for the day. So it is essentially asking if we have or would look to create a like clear and formal process for in-game UI errors, I guess, for lack of a better term. So in this case, they're referencing the Serendale Duel Season 2 had the wrong date put in for a little bit. So basically just asking, do we have a process or would we look at creating a process for how that's handled and if it includes some kind of compensation to impacted players.
All the hard questions right at the end.
I know.
Yeah, no, this is a really important one. I will say that we have very high standards to ensure that the interface is as accurate as humanly possible. We have like QA processes and code reviews and things like that. However, there are times where there will still be like mistakes that slip through, and we don't actually guarantee the accuracy of anything on the interface. It's more one of those things that, like you are using the interface to interact with the underlying smart contracts, and the smart contracts are sort of like the source of truth. In this case, the smart contracts had the correct date, the interface did not. And I think that, there's for sure like lessons to be learned there, and I think we are like really improving our QA process over like what it was last year. It's head and shoulders above where it was like this time last year because we have excellent QA people. But with that said, there are mistakes that happen. Is there a process right now for any kind of compensation? No, there's not. Should there be? I think that's up to the community. I think that's a thing that I would like to see the community talk about, perhaps over on the talk site. And it could even be something that there's a proposal that gets created and then eventually works its way up to a vote and gets approved. I would really love to see a sort of like grassroots proposal like that start to form, because really that's the future of this entire project, is having the proposals be sourced from individuals that are in the community. So I'd say, I would like recommend, let's have you, whoever it was who asked this, have them like stick some ideas up over on like our site for the forums on our talk site, and see if other people can sort of like weigh in and actually draft a proposal. And I think what I'd like to do is figure out a way or a process that is sort of like the proper way to get a community sourced proposal put up for a vote. Because really, I would love to see that on our site for snapshot.org, and with like using Cjoule and Sjoule to have things get voted. I would really love to see more proposals that are coming from the community itself.
Yeah, I would add we do have the vote proposal board on the talk site, so that could be a good place for that. And I think it would be really cool if it was a proposal that was created by the community for the community. Yep, I went there. But I mean, ultimately, that's what it is a proposal for the community getting there. So I think it's a really cool idea for it to be drafted by the community. I mean, that's what it's all about. Yeah, I just wanted to tag that in there, that board does exist. Awesome. Well, that does it for our questions for the day. So, in that case, we are going to wrap up. I won't go around and make everybody speak, but before we go to Dreamer and Fox, who I will make speak, does anybody have any last comments they wanted to add?
I'll jump in for a second. Belando, is that your new name? Is that what we're supposed to call you? Just wanted to, just let y'all know, I'm really excited about a lot of upcoming announcements, lots of partnerships that we're currently working with. I'm super, just jazzed to tell you all about upcoming events in the next few weeks too that we can't quite mention, but that will be happening. And also just want to say I will be a part of the team at Eth Denver. And so if you are a builder or you have a team you'd like us to connect with, reach out. I'd be happy and excited to meet with teams in that space in person, brainstorm ideas, collaborations, or even if you're a community developer or a content creator and want to connect with people from the team, please reach out. Love to schedule something. Thanks.
Thank you, Sunbear. Really excited to hanging out in Eth Denver. Looking forward to it. Anybody else? All right. As always, really appreciate everybody who's up here on the stage, and Magnus. Magnus had to drop for a meeting, but really appreciate everybody who's up on the stage taking their time out of their day to do this AMA. Appreciate everybody who's listening in for taking the time out of their day to listen to us answer these questions. And as always, thank you to everybody who does submit questions, because otherwise we have nothing to talk about. So please make sure if you have any questions, you submit them to talk.defykingdoms.com is the preference. We do also have the AMA questions channel here in Discord. You can use that as well. We do look at it, but the talk site is easier to keep organized. But please make sure you keep submitting questions so that we have stuff to answer for you. I know the questions are there, so let's answer them. And with that, we will go to Dreamer.
I won't add too much more. I think we always seem to use up our time well. So thank you for the questions. Thank you for everybody joining as well. Year of the game means a lot of different things. I think we've said that a few times on the topic of what we are releasing, but also how we're kind of mobilizing ourselves and leveraging our partnerships to get the word out more. We do have a foundation in a new part of the world, specifically South Korea, with our Clayton partnership. We are continuing weekly meetings with folks, and I'm seeing Fiveface, Bolon, Poppy, and others, as well as Sunbear on the relationship side, continue to expand the network there. I'm grateful for everybody's patience. I think we have a really positive community that sees the hard work. And I was excited not only for features, but how do we then take these features and propel ourselves in the best way we can? That requires better on-ramps that give people access to Joule, or at least gas tokens more easily in parts of the world that we would really like to cater to. That involves, a strong market maker working with us to get listed on hopefully a tier 1, tier 2, or a few exchanges to tap into that user acquisition on-ramp and so on. That includes wallets that we're looking to support, some of which are connected to centralized exchanges that have users that will co-market. And the list goes on, so I won't try to repeat things necessarily, but the big picture here is not only year of the game being, more tokenized RPG-like features coming out that will be fun and give everything that we've seen so far more like long-term purpose and be exciting, but hopefully also attract people to come in, understand, through tutorials and translations and content and, strong community and onboarding process, just a way to really hit a stride. And whether that stride happens in the bear or bull market, we kind of at this point aren't banking on, external like global inputs to carry us to higher highs. We're hoping that all of this effort through the year of the game and beyond will really, make it an obvious choice to either participate in, to play, invest in, or support the whole product of DeFi Kingdom. So just wanted to share that overall vision and excitement for this year, and hope that you all are excited about that too. Over to you, Fox.
Sweet. Yeah, thanks. This was a really good AMA. They always are. And I can't remember the post that I retweeted on Twitter about how many AMAs and the communication and stuff that we've had as a team, and it's just amazing that every single week for the most part we've had a AMA. Sorry about my dog. And we survived 2022 and we survived in style. 2023 is the year of the thrive, so I'm really excited about all the things that are getting built. It's really, really busy. Magnus actually finally is planning on trying to take a vacation, I think, next month for the first time in a year. Everyone's just been so busy. And there's always a ton to do, and everyone's working really, really hard, and I just want all of you guys to know that, and I think you do. And so if you see anyone in chat or whatever, make sure to reach out and smack them on the back and say thanks for your work, because really there's a lot of love that gets put into this. And also I'd like to say just a really big thanks to all of you here in the audience and in our Discord. You guys are what make this thing fun, and that's what really drives us to do our best work here and to make the most high quality product that we can. So I'm stoked for the things that are coming up, and I'm really excited and really grateful and thankful for our team and for everyone here. And I just want to say thank you, everyone. and I'm gonna try to get the like lip quiver thing when I say bullish, but bullish. Thanks for coming.
Bullish.
Bullish.